Boston Celtics fans, on today's show, we're going to be talking about possibly filling that final roster spot on the Boston Celtics. So I want to hear from you guys first and foremost. Name a player that you want to fill the final roster spot for the Boston Celtics as they are heading in to the NBA playoffs very soon. Believe it or not, we're talking about Isaiah Thomas on today's show. And I know what you're thinking off the bat. What in the world is this girl talking about? But hear me out, because there are some clues leading to the fact the Boston Celtics may be interested in the former Boston Celtic, Isaiah Thomas. Welcome to Celtics Today. I am your host, Allie Barefoot. And the Celtics staff actually went and watched Isaiah Thomas's G League game while they were on the road in Utah. They did face the Jazz last night, but they stopped by in Salt Lake City to watch their former teammate play. So let's talk about what actually happened here during the game, because I do want to keep in mind here the Boston Celtics have an open roster spot. So if they actually did like Isaiah Thomas and whatever he produced during his game, or maybe they're looking for maybe a locker room guy, well, the Celtics could possibly add just one more. However, I talked to Marshall Green, host of Knicks Now here by Chat Sports, and we were both on the same page of believing you only have to have a minimum of 14 players heading into the playoffs, so maybe Brad Stevens doesn't have to sign anybody at all. Let's talk about what happens if they do sign Isaiah Thomas. Well, he played for the Boston Celtics from 2015 to 2017. He had hip surgery in 2020 while playing for the Washington Wizards, and this was a brutal surgery, as Big Tex would say. He had some metal put in his hip. I mean, obviously, this is one of those really, really tough to come back to the NBA after you had this type of surgery. But he has been floating in and out of 10-day contracts with the NBA teams. The most recent one was with the Charlotte Hornets, but now he currently plays for the Salt Lake City Stars, which is the G League organization. Well, Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe did tweet out yesterday before the Boston Celtics versus Utah Jazz game and said head coach Joe Mazzulla and assistant coach Tony Dobbins are here at the Herd Stars G League game in Salt Lake City watching Isaiah Thomas and several other former NBA players and college standouts. Well, you might be thinking, why would Joe Mazzulla go to a G League game if not just to watch Isaiah Thomas? I do want to put out this disclaimer, though. It turns out Joe Mazzulla's brother is also an assistant coach on the G League Stars team, so that is probably the main reason that brought Joe Mazzulla to this team. But nonetheless, we know Brad Stevens traveled across the country to go find Kristaps Porzingis and watch him play against the Washington Wizards, so it's all about what you do when the scout is there and what you could possibly offer the Boston Celtics. Not comparing Kristaps and Isaiah Thomas, but you get the gist of what it's going to take to really prove to Joe Mazzulla, hey, look, if you came to watch your brother, why don't you watch me for a quick minute instead? Isaiah Thomas in his G League game dropped 34 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and he made 7 for 13 three-pointers. And I know what you're going to say, Allie, it's the G League. Why are we even talking about this? Blah, 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 blah. But if you've made it this far in the video, that means you're interested, right? Because I know I am. Just a little bit. I know it's the G League, but still, making 7 threes, I mean, he's obviously still got the physical ability to play the game that he loves, especially being a 35-year-old. He told the media the reason why he's playing the G League right now is because of one reason. He wants to play in the NBA again. And we all remember how dominant he was for the Celtics in 2015, 2017. But people change, people get older. I sure as hell know I'm not the same person I was in 2015 to 2017. So he did have a hip surgery that just basically crumbled his entire career. But I would be interested to see what he could do if he did come back. So my question to you guys is, should the Boston Celtics take a huge risk by signing Isaiah Thomas to the final roster spot, as the Boston Celtics are the number 1 team in the NBA right now? He'd be more of a role player if he gets any minutes at all, maybe more of a locker room guy, but he does know the franchise history. Go ahead and comment why or why not down below. I know this is a crazy topic, but I do want to bring up more information about Isaiah Thomas in the second half of the show that could persuade you to possibly re-sign a very, very good basketball player a few years ago. Go on ahead and comment down below. I do tell you guys about our sponsor here today on Celtics Today. It, of course, is Prize Picks, the number 1 daily fantasy sports app in America right now. And if you guys aren't playing this right now, let me go ahead and tell you why you should be. It is so much fun, and it's super easy to play. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats. And you can actually, right now, turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries today on PrizePicks. And plus, if you want to play alongside some of your favorite players like Meek Mill and Sugar Sean O'Malley, this is the place to be. You can go find them now under the Community Plays tab. So these are my PrizePicks if you guys want to play along with me, the host of Celtics Today. So they are actually having a huge deal right now, and this is another reason why I love PrizePicks. They constantly have promotions, and they're very timely promotions. I didn't even realize tomorrow is Pi Day. 3.14, well, PrizePicks did, and they went on ahead and made a deal on James Harden to have 3.14 points. I mean, that's just fun, if anything else. So, of course, I took the more on that, so that's almost a guarantee win there. And I did just want to make a bigger pick altogether. So I picked 4 players in total. Tyrese Halliburton have more than 18.5 points. Nick Claxton have less than 9.5 rebounds. He's playing the Orlando Magic. Doesn't tend to do well against that team. But I do have Paolo having more than a Goblin for half a three-pointer made. The Goblin is an easier pick, but less of a payout. A Demon is a harder pick, but pays more. I figured with the James Harden promo, why not take it a little easy? If you guys want to go make your PrizePicks right now, just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is literally that easy. Thomas has made it pretty clear that he wants to play for the Boston Celtics. I don't blame him. Thomas was probably at the peak of his career when he was in Boston. He was dominating the MVP ratings. He was doing everything that he possibly could to try to get him that banner 18. Of course, he did get injured in the Eastern Conference Finals, so he was not able to finish that series. And plus, he also had the death of his little sister while he was in the first round, but they went on to win against the Chicago Bulls. He dealt with a lot of adversity. And Isaiah Thomas claims to be a player that has no issues with anybody and vice versa. So it sounds like he's a good locker room presence per Isaiah Thomas. But let's go ahead and break down what Boston Celtics actually do mean to the former Celtic himself. He said, as you know, Boston love is real. Don't matter what happened in the past, all those guys communicate with me still. I'm always locked in on Celtics games. That was a big part of my life. That was an important time in my life as well. So it's always going to be love for everybody who's in that organization. That was a helping hand to me and my family, and I appreciate the support. Of course, Isaiah Thomas wouldn't have played with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or even Joe Mazzulla when he was in the Boston Celtics, but he is a 2-time NBA All-Star. He does hold the Celtics record streak of 43 consecutive 20-plus point games and 1 3-point made for 50-plus games. 50 straight games, I should say. He's obviously been extremely dominant, even in the playoffs, second highest total points in C's playoff history with 53 points. I mean, he dominated when he played for the Boston Celtics, but keep in mind, that was 8 years ago. In 2015, 2017, you guys know I'm not good at mental math, so if I got that number wrong, just keep it to yourself. Here's my take on Isaiah Thomas. It does sound extremely wild. I got laughed at in the Chat Sports office for telling him I was even making this video. But there's a reason Joe Mazzulla was there. Yes, his brother is on that team, but Isaiah Thomas is trying to make a name for himself and come back. He's not even older than Al Horford. He's the same age as Blake Griffin. So it may sound weird to probably want to take Isaiah Thomas back just because he is a shell of himself. He's completely washed up. If he's going to be on the Celtics organization, he will not be a role player. He is not going to push the needle. Will he be a locker room guy? Yes. Could you get some minutes out of him? Absolutely. And it would add to the depth, but it sure as hell won't add any height to the roster as he sits at about 5'9". But that's not their only option they have if they do want to fill their final roster spot. Neemias Queta is still a two-way player. He cannot play more than 50 games in the NBA on a two-way contract. He also cannot play in the NBA playoffs without a full-time contract with the NBA. Blake Griffin, Derek White, and Payton Pritchard recently went on Pardon My Take and said, we've been calling him, we've been texting him, come back, Blake. And his only response was, I'm good. So Blake Griffin's obviously a stretch. Isaiah Thomas is ready. He wants to play. He's actually been working out and playing in the NBA's G League for quite a few years now, and the fact that he wants to be who he once was. Will he be that person? That's up to Isaiah Thomas. Or you could always try and go look at the free agency market, but as of right now, the Celtics have had no luck in the buyout market. Dallinello Gallinari, he signed. DeLon Wright, he signed. Otto Porter Jr., retired. There's really nobody that's going to be a huge difference maker out there for the Boston Celtics that's in the buyout market. Isaiah Thomas wouldn't be a huge difference either, but he could do something special. So out of those four options, I just want to ask you guys real quick, who would you guys like to sign for the final roster spot of the Boston Celtics? Type NQ for Neemias Queta, BG for Blake Griffin, IT for Isaiah Thomas, or just go to the free agent buyout market, type FA if you think there's still somebody in the buyout market that they could possibly sign and add to their final roster spot. While you guys are making your very, very intense choice there, let me go ahead and break down what Brad Stevens wants from the final roster spot. He said, I think we have to see, number one, if there's somebody that can, again, provide great depth for our group, but I don't anticipate a person that vaults into our every night rotation. So you're looking for some numbers. You're looking for some depth. You're looking for a guy that knows the system already and can just come in and be a part of the stay ready group, which is what the bench calls himself. Neemias Queta, Sam Hauser, Payton Pritchard, and etc. Probably not going to be Isaiah Thomas. I think that that's a headline that would definitely still catch me by surprise, even as I am about 10 minutes into this video right now. But if they are looking for great depth, it's probably not going to be 5'9" Isaiah Thomas. The C's could use one more player to really help them, especially if there's any injury insurance leading into the playoffs. I do believe that while these teams have made so many roster moves, that the Boston Celtics should also make one as well. But I do agree the buyout market has been pretty shit for the Boston Celtics. So you're really going to have to weigh your options if you want to add somebody like a 35-year-old Isaiah Thomas. Overall, I'm going with Neemias Queta. I think Isaiah Thomas would be a fantastic locker room addition, somebody that's going to get a second chance to prove that he can still play at 35 years old, which a lot of guys in the NBA are still playing at that age. So it's really not that old in terms of NBA years. Yes, he's not in his prime and he could be washed up, but look at how Horford's still getting up and down the court at 38 years old. The reason why I'm going with Neemias Queta is because he's been playing with this Boston Celtics organization the entire year, and he would add some injury insurance and great depth to the Boston Celtics roster. But that's just my opinion. The reason why we have Celtics Today in the first place is that I give you my opinion. I show you guys some stats and some facts. We talk about it, and then you guys drop your comments down below. Name a player you want the Boston Celtics to sign before the NBA playoffs, or if you think the roster is perfectly fine as is, just let me know. While you guys are at it, be sure to always hit that subscribe button for me. We will be live tomorrow night against the Phoenix Suns. Thank you guys for the little bit of hiatus we've had from watch parties. NFL free agency is a huge time here at Chat Sports, so I appreciate your patience. Just hit that subscribe button, and I promise I'm going to make you very happy.